Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is my first introduction to Pygame. Okay, so this is going to be so far a series of 6 beginner tutorials that'll get you to this point. So I just want to show you where we're going here. So this is in Replit. Okay, what we have here is is our introduction to GUIs. Okay, so a GUI is a graphical user interface. And all of this is controlled with Python code. Okay, so we're going to get to a point where we can, add background images. We're going to be able to control images. So right now I'm controlling this image with the mouse, and if I click on here, I can control this other image with keys. Okay, kind of like if you took a grade 10 and we did some stuff with Scratch. It's kind of like that, except this is all a little more complicated. Okay. I'm going to show you how to do some stuff with rendering text on the screen, so that eventually we'll be able to create titles and scoreboards and things like that. Also, we're going to talk about events like intersection. Okay, and you see that when these two things intersect, you get some stuff happening down here to indicate that yes, in fact, the two images are intersecting. And then we can use that to do things like update a score or a health or something like that connected to gaming. Okay, so this is where we're going, and hopefully after about 6 or 7 tutorials you'll get to this point. But let's start from the beginning. Okay, so I want to walk you through it. So we're going to create a new replit. Okay, and you're going to create a new Pygame. Okay, now I'm going to call this my Pygame demo, so I know what to come back to. And for me, I'm making mine private so that only I can see this. But you have to make yours public because you don't have a paid account. Now, so let's create the REPL. And we're going to get started by, so right from the beginning, we're going to do our import. So import our Pygame. And we're going to also import sys and time. Okay, these are different things that we'll be using, right? That we'll be using in our program. Okay. Now Pygame is a library that we'll use, and so one of the first things that we need to do is we're going to initialize Pygame so that we can use all of the built-in functions in the Pygame library. Okay, and to do that, we're just going to do pygame.init and go from there. Okay, init and my brackets. Okay. Now, one of the things that we need is when we're introducing GUIs, like we need the visual kind of component, okay? And the things that we use are like windows. You see them in applications like Microsoft Word. When you open them up, a window pops up, or any app that you develop, there's always a window that pops up. So we have to create that window, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to first create a window size. Okay, so we have to state the dimensions of that. And the window size is going to be equal to 800 by 600. And those are pixels, okay? So this window size is a set of coordinates, and you need to write it like this, okay? So some of these types of variables will be new, and that's where you get into some of the debugging problems, is that students aren't including brackets, or they don't understand that this is a set of XY coordinates, or window sizes is an actual variable type. Okay, we're also going to create a screen. Okay, so the variable name is called a screen, and what the screen is we're going to use the display in Pygame. So Pygame dot display dot set mode, and we're going to declare window size as the size of our display. Okay. One of the other things we need to do, okay, and so right now we've created a window, we've created a screen, okay, and the purpose of this program is kind of trying to we're going to recreate that classic Hello World program, but with GUIs, okay? So if I want to be able to write text onto the screen, I need to be able to declare a font, okay? So I have to create that text. So I'm going to use a Myriad Pro font, okay? And I'm going to set that equal to, so a Pygame dot font dot sysfont, and don't want that in there, okay, and then we're going to add Myriad, right, our Myriad Pro font in there, okay, and we're going to call it size 48 for now. Okay, so it'll be nice and big. Okay, so I've declared my font, and now I'm going to create my text. Okay, so let's create some Hello World text, and I often do this. I include like a text or an image kind of word to include with my variable names, just so I know whether I'm creating text or whether I'm creating images. Okay, as we start to develop more types of objects, throughout these tutorials, it's useful to have good variable names so that we can identify things when we're debugging. So this is a type of text that we're creating, and we're going to use our Myriad Pro font dot render, okay, and we're going to render Hello World. And what we also need to include is a few different variables. I can't remember what the one stands for, but one of them, this set of this next variable that is included is a color. So I'm going to use 100, comma, and it's RGB 100, 100, comma 255. I think that's the background, and then the actual color of the text, I think I'm going to make black. So it's going to be 255, comma 255, comma 255. Right, so this whole thing is the RGB number for, it's either black or white, I can't remember. Well, we'll see once we run it, okay? And so you'll notice that there is a, that bracket and that bracket, those are correct. They might look a little funny because we're having so many brackets and things like that, but this is an actual color code inside one of the parameters for rendering text, okay? And the last thing I need is a set of coordinates. So I'm going to use X and Y, and these are going to be my coordinates for my text starting position, and we're going to use 0, 0. Okay, so X is equal to 0, Y is equal to 0. Okay, now that we've kind of got all of that stuff created, right, we've declared all this stuff, kind of this first part, you can consider this like, initializing or declaring all your variables. Okay, and now, in a Pygame, we need to talk about when to start and when to finish and how to run this program. Okay, so everything that actually for running the Pygame happens in a while true loop. Okay, so you can use a while one or while true. Those both execute to the same thing. Okay, now within our while loop, we're going to have some events. So the first event that we're going to introduce here. So event.type, if that is equal to Pygame dot quit, okay, and then use a colon here, and then we're going to do assist dot exit. Okay, so what this is going to do in the event that we want to close our window, it will actually stop the Pygame from running. Okay, so these events, we're going to talk a little more about those things later, but as we start to add a little more complexity, there's going to be different types of events that we look at. Okay, so oh, I already made a mistake. Okay, so for event, hold on, this is going to be for event in Pygame dot event dot get. Okay, for event in Pygame dot event dot get. Okay, if event dot type equals Pygame dot quit, we're going to exit. Okay, that's what's happening here. So this for event in Pygame, all our events that we kind of consider are going to be in different if statements throughout this. But the first one that we're using is just to be able to close out our program. Okay, now so we're done. Oops, sorry about that. So we're done with that condition. That just allows us to exit the program. Okay, but remember, there's Python uses indentation for looping instead of brackets or parentheses for indicating or enclosing our blocks. Okay, so this is a different thing that's going to be in our while loop. We're going to use this function screen. So screen we created above dot blit. So the blit function is what actually shows or displays something to the screen. So what we want to do is we want to show a hello world text, and then the positions that I'm going to use are x, comma y. Okay, and I think that's it. Okay. Now you got to remember that as we're using this loop and it's running, there's a constant need to ask the display to update. Okay, and the reason we do this is so that if we're moving things across the screen, it looks a little more natural. So the way that the movement and things work is that we actually update our screen every if we're working in 40 frames per second or 60 frames per second, that controls the amount of times that the screen gets updated. Okay, so let's give that a go. Okay, I think that should be enough to test out. So let's hope we didn't make any mistakes. Okay, so I'm going to run this. Okay, so I got a black screen, that's successful, and I have my hello world, okay, and that's displaying to the screen. Okay, so this is the first time that we've done something that has a GUI. A GUI is this graphic. Okay, it's got a black background, and one little bit of text that is in that is displaying on the screen. So one thing that you might want to try, okay, once you get this tutorial completed, okay, you might want to try changing the words that you display here, okay, and see what happens. You also might want to try changing these colors. Let's play around with some of these colors. You can Google different RGB color codes to find the exact colors that you want, okay. You can also try changing the XY position. Okay, what happens when you change the XY position? And remember that we're working within 800 by 600 pixels. So you want your X and Y to fall within this range. And just a little tip, know that X and Y starts at this upper point right here. Okay, so and then increases for your width is your 800 going from left to right. So here would be 0 and here would be 800. And for your Y position, here would be 0 and then here would be 600. Okay? And now one of the benefits of knowing that is that you're not getting any negative numbers. Okay? And you're always working down. So if I increase something, I'm moving it down into the right rather than when I increase, it doesn't really change with the X position, because as I add numbers, I'm still moving to the right. But where it does change is with the Y position, right? So as I add and increase my Y, instead of normally where you go up on a Cartesian plane, we're actually going down, because here's 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to 600. Okay, so give that a go. I hope that makes sense. And that's your first introduction to Pygame, and it only gets better from here, gentlemen. Okay, I hope you're well, and we'll keep chipping away at this, and I think this last kind of major project will be a lot of fun. We'll be able to build on it. We'll be able to take it to some pretty fun places, and I can show you how to create custom graphics and images that you can use on your own. And I'll have little tutorials for those as well. And we can have a lot of fun. We can make your own original games. Okay, hope you're well, and take care and stay tuned.